أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة وتأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون صدق الله العلي العظيم. 10th class, I will continue my conversation about the structure of neuron. So I was talking about a cover of neuron, how the neuron is protected in a sheath, and that sheath was myelinated sheath. In session number 14, I was talking about this sheath. Did you remember? Yes, myelinated sheath. This is the myelinated sheath, and myelinated sheath is not present throughout axon. If you just see, it is not present throughout axon. Just it is present in some areas of axon, and in some areas the axon is exposed. Here axon is exposed. Here axon is not exposed because yellow color myelinated sheath, MYELIN myelinated sheath, here written myelin sheath here written, but you can use both names. You can use the myelinated sheath, you can say myelin sheath, both names are okay. But I will tell you myelin sheath with insulator, and nerve impulse cannot be passed. Nerve impulse cannot be passed due to myelinated sheath. Therefore, when the myelinated sheath which covers the neuron, what you have to do, you have to understand the conductance of nerve impulse, how the nerve impulse will be transmitted, because the major function of neuron is the conduct of the nerve impulse, conductance of the nerve impulse, the transport of nerve impulse from the dendrite to the cell body, and from the cell body to the axon, and to the axon to the next neuron are effectors. So this is the transporting direction of the nerve impulse, and the message will be transmitted in this direction. But the problem is that myelinated sheath came, a cover came which is insulated. I am not going to much detail to tell you about the myelin sheath, but I will tell you, if neuron is so much lengthy cell, it needs nutrition, needs some particles which will feed neuron for metabolic activity, so that neuron will produce current, mean energy will be there, that energy will be converted into electric current or nerve impulse. How you will understand energy will be required, because I am not going to tell you sodium pumps, potassium pumps. Sodium pumps, potassium pumps need energy. You know the definition of active transport, in which the molecules flow from the low concentration to high concentration using the ATP molecule. You need active transport to flow the current. You need energy to flow the current. How you will use this energy? You will use this energy by using active transport, by using these nutritional tissues which will provide the food and the protection to the neuron. So if nature made so much long cell in your body, moving from brain to your feet, for conductance of the nerve impulse, for conductance of the message, so that your all electrical wiring of the body take place. When you make your house, what you do? You do electrical wiring. You have a multi or a top floor in which you are unable to reach, but still the electrician will move and he will implant the wire. Reason is that because he wants to convey the message of light to each part of the house. By the same way, this neuron is giving message to all parts of the body, so neurons are so lengthy cell that they are moving from one part of body to another part of the body. So you have to provide energy to produce the electric current production will be carried out by these tissues, nutritional tissues. What the name I told, these nutritional tissues? In the second year, they will be called as neuroglial cell. Here, myelin sheath, MYELIN, or myelinated sheath. But this is insulator. Problem is that sheath is unable to transport the current. No problem. Problem is there. Now, your point, sir, neuron is meant to conduct the nerve impulse if myelin sheath is there and current is moving from dendrite to axon, dendrite to cell body very easily, but cell body to axon, it is not going to transport properly, reason due to presence of myelin sheath. What you will do, how the message will be transported? That is a good point, and I am giving you answer of this question. Look here, I told the points. These are the points. Sorry, these are the points. How I will show you? Look here, these are the points. Okay, now this is clear. These are the points in which this yellow color is not present. So there are some pointed. Nature left. Nature is superior than us. Nature can think better than us, and nature is giving us surprise. I am giving you surprise by the which the nature gave, which you will understand that these points are nodes of Ranvier. No, nature is telling that I know better than you about the neuron. You should not worry how the conduct of the current will be transmitted, the nerve impulse will be transmitted. These nodes of Ranvier, which are situated, I am slow because this is a little conceptual. These are situated, where they are situated? They are situated at the different points of the axon. This is the one point of the axon, this is another point of the axon, this is the third point of the axon. So these nodes of Ranvier which are present at the points, here the nerve impulse can be transmitted. Here the nerve impulse can be transmitted. Now once again you are thinking, sir, how the nerve impulse will be transmitted? Wait, nerve impulse will be transmitted by jumping method. Nerve impulse will move from here to there, from here to there, from here to there, because it cannot pass through the myelinated sheet. It will jump to in this area. How it will jump, that will explain that. That's why I am naming the sodium gate, the potassium gates, the sodium pumps, the potassium pumps, the action membrane potential, the resting membrane potential, and the polarization, the depolarization. The second here I will tell you how this jumping of nerve impulse will take place, and I am going to clarify one point. This speed which is produced by jumping, this is far more better than if neuron is going directly. So now you will understand technically myelinated sheath looking villain here and not allowing the current to transfer, but here it is looking that the nerve impulse is going to be transported by only myelinated sheath, because it is producing a different type of nerve impulse, different type of speed of nerve impulse, and such a nerve impulse which is formed by the jumping from the nodes of the Ranvier to the another node of the Ranvier, and from one node of the Ranvier to the another nodes of the Ranvier, and then from this node of Ranvier to the next node of the Ranvier. This nerve impulse is called saltatory, saltatory, saltatory nerve impulse. Very large speed, much speedy. The maximum speed nerve impulse is found in the saltatory nerve impulse. The saltatory nerve impulse is a nerve impulse which is very fast, and nerve impulse speed, of course this is the nerve impulse which is present due to jumping of the nerve impulse from the nodes of the Ranvier to the nodes of the Ranvier. Now this area which is present between one node of Ranvier and to another node of the Ranvier, this area is called Schwann cell. Schwann Schwann cell. Of course this all is one cell, but it's actually when cell is very long, you have to divide, you have to subdivide. So don't be a complete cell. Complete cell is of course the neuron. We'll go back to another information. Which type of neuron that is? That is a motor neuron. How many type of neurons are present? 3 type of the neurons are present. One is a sensory neuron, one is a motor neuron, third one is an interneuron or associative neuron. Associative neuron definition I did not tell you. This is the motor neuron function you are understanding. In the motor neuron, what is the function of the motor neuron? Here will be the brain. The brain, it will conduct the message from the brain to effectors. The brain to the effector, the message is conducted by the motor neuron. So motor neuron is very important, because motor neuron is conducting the message from the brain to the effectors, and the effectors are the muscles and the glands. And this motor neuron, what is another type of the neuron? Sensory neuron, SCNSORY. What is the function of the sensory neuron? Sensory neuron. What is the function of the sensory neuron? Sensory neuron conduct the message from the receptors to the CNS, to the brain.
It's very simple, opposite way to the motor neuron. It will carry the message from the receptor to the CNS. What is the definition of the CNS? CNS, what is the mean of the CNS? Central nervous system, the main nervous system, the main part of the nervous system. Which things are included in the CNS? Two things. One is the brain, Dimag, which is present in your cranium, that is you are watching, which is very vast. And then the spinal cord, which is a small wire going from your dorsal side. Dorsal side is your back side, okay? Your back side is called dorsal side. And from your back side, this wire, which is protected in the vertebrae skeletal system, mean bone skeletal system, is our next chapter, in which I will teach you that vertebral column, which are 33 vertebrae, they are protecting the spinal cord, and spinal cord protection by skeletal system present at the dorsal side. Spinal cord plus brain, collectively called as CNS, central nervous system. We go back to another neuron. So these terms you know. Okay, you want to know this term, dendrites. Dendrites are the small outgrowth of the cell body. Nucleus, this is the major structure of the cell body. If anybody asks why this structure, a part of the neuron, this structure, why this part is called cell body, why this part is called cell body, why this part is called cell body, the answer is very simple. Because this part is called cell body because it consists of the nucleus. It consists of the nucleus. So we go back to other parts which we are discussing. Myelinated sheet. This is the structure we studied today. Cover of the axon, the protective sheath of the axon, the protective sheath of the axon, the protection of the axon. Because this is an insulator. Insulator is going to conduct the current. No, it is not going to conduct the current. And what is the major purpose of the presence of the myelinated sheath around the axon? Because they are providing the nutrition. Because neuron is so long structure, it needs energy. Because there are different difficult mechanisms, like mechanisms of the sodium pumps, the potassium gates, the sodium gates. Because we will study in the senior classes, they need energy. Then the nerve impulse will be transmitted in the neuron. So how this nutrition will be provided by these cells? What is the drawback of the myelinated sheath? The drawback of the myelinated sheath is that because it is unable to transport the current. So this is a major drawback to how the neuron will conduct the current. Problem are there? No problem. There are nodes of Ranvier. There are nodes of Ranvier. So these nodes of Ranvier, which are present from one area, from this area to this area, they will conduct the nerve impulse by different method, by a unique method, by a amazing method, by the jumping method. And such nerve impulse which move from the one node of Ranvier to the another node of Ranvier, from this node of Ranvier to the next node of Ranvier, from this node of Ranvier to the next node of Ranvier, that is called a saltatory nerve impulse. Saltatory nerve impulse, SALTATORY, saltatory nerve impulse is so important because it has a maximum speed 120 meters per second, I think so, because I will confirm you. Some areas 130 meters per second, the speed of nerve impulse. So it is just like going, just like a speed of light. You know that it is moving from the brain to all parts of the body. I gave one example in last session. That if your finger is touching any hot object and you lift the finger, it means the message moved from your receptor to the brain or CNS, and then you thought, and then the decision goes there, and then goes to motor neuron. Motor neurons conduct this message to the effectors, and effectors decide by muscles to lift that finger up. To that was the time consumed. How much time will be consumed in lifting the finger up? Nothing. Why this in less time your reaction or response was there? Just because of this nerve impulse. Which nerve impulse? Saltatory nerve impulse. So the third type of the neuron. So direction of the current, you know. Direction of the current you must know. Direction of the current in case of the motor neuron. From the brain mean the CNS, from the central nervous system to the effectors, and effectors are the muscles and the glands. And this is the dendrite once again. Dendrite, because direction of the current. Once again, I have to show the direction of the current, the direction of the nerve impulse. No direction of the from always the message will flow from the dendrite to the cell body, and from cell body to the axon, and axon to next neuron by gap. One word I will add today, because the gap between the two neurons is called synapse. Synapse is the gap between the two neurons, and always the gap is present. Reason, if the neuron is there, the next neuron is coming, that between them there is a little gap, and that gap is called synapse. How the message is transmitted by synapse, that is a much detailed topic in second year. That is also a phenomena, that is also a conceptual but very interesting. So how the message will be transmitted from the one neuron to another neuron. Look here, dendrite, cell body, axon by saltatory nerve impulse mean myelinated sheath will not be able to will not be able to handle the current. The nodes of the Renware, it will move from the one nodes of the Renware to the next nodes of the Renware. It go to the synapse, and then it goes to the next dendrite, it goes to the next cell body, next axon. By this way nerve impulse will be transmitted from the one part of the neuron, from one part of the body to another part of the body. And what is the target? I think at least this level you must know the target, where the neurons are going. What is the final destination of the neurons? Effectors. Effectors are the muscles and glands. Now I am going to tell you another neuron. Are you watching this neuron? Yes, this is the sensory neuron. That is visible to you. That is the sensory neuron. SENSORY, sensory neuron. This neuron is moving from where to where? From where to where? I have to tell you, or you will tell me? Because you must know, because I defined this neuron. I did not define one neuron, that was interneuron. I did not define the associative neuron, but I defined the sensory neuron. The message is being transmitted. The message is being transmitted from the receptor. From the receptor, this is a receptor. It is going to the cell body. It is going to the cell body, and then it is going to the axon. Now one thing is clear. One thing is clear. There is a difference of the structure between the sensory neuron and the motor neuron. You was watching the outgrowth fibers of the cell body was very small in the motor neuron. You have seen already. You have seen, I showed you diagram. But in this sensory neuron, there is only one dendrite. This is not dendrite. This is dendron. This is a singular. That is a dendron. This is a huge difference. This is a receptor. Direction of the current is this one, from the receptor to the CNS, from the receptor to the brain. So what is happening? What is happening? Receptor will receive the message by the stimulus, and the message will be transmitted to this single fiber. Actually, these fibers were small. These fibers were small in the motor neuron, and they were maximum. Look here, they were maximum. They were small outgrowth. Here what is happening? Here what is happening? This is a modification. What is the modification in this case? What is the modification in this case? In this case, the modification is that the small fibers, which were small fibers in the motor neuron, those are large, but those are not large. They are large. That is one fiber. So two difference. Dendrites are not present in the sensory neuron. Dendron present, one dendron, but that is long. That is very long. No problem is there. This is axon. How you will identify axon and the dendrite? How you will identify between axon and dendrite? Because this neuron will be given. This is a major problem in the neuron. When the sensory neuron will be given to you, and I will tell you where is the dendrite, where is the axon. How you will understand? Because axon here is small, and axon here is large. Here in this case, this is all axon. This is all axon. And this axon is large. So how you will differentiate between axon? Here axon and the dendrite distinction is very easy in the motor neuron. How it is easy? Because small fibers are called axon. Small fibers are called axons. This is very simple. Small fibers are called axon, and large fiber is called small fibers are called dendrites. The long fiber is called axon. But how you will distinguish between axon and the dendron in this neuron? Here dendron is long, but it could be axon. It could be axon because axon is long. But here this is dendron. How you will distinguish between axon and dendrites, that I will explain in the next session, inshallah. And I will start from here, and I will tell you a much significant point. You must attend next session essentially, because I am giving you a key point of the distinction between axon and the dendrites of sensory neuron. Allah Hafiz.